What is going on, guys, and welcome to the channel. Today I'm heading into work and it is going to be a thrasher today. The DeLorean is almost done. We have to do the interior, we have some wheels coming, wide body kit, and we have some carbon fiber work to do. We also have a major hurdle to get done with the wiring, but first we got to start with some insulation on the car, so let's get to it. We're gonna put some membrane from Msd Air in the old DeLorean. These cars are all fiberglass, so they're pretty echoey, and for a build like this we want to make sure that it's nice and soundproof to stop the echoing and all the road noise. Msd Air has you taken care of with their membrane system, and what this is it's almost like a tar with this insulation in it. It's going to increase your productivity with your air conditioning, and it's got a nice sticky back. Today we're working with a lot of Haltech goodies. I don't really know too much about wiring. I can do a mean set of fog lights and that's about it. But we have Scott from Crawford Speed, Scott Crawford, and he is the Haltech man.
We have Haltech's new Nexus R5.
Look at that.
This is basically their top of the line ECU. Comes with a PDM, full engine control. You have control over 2 steps, sensors, traction control, rolling anti-lag, everything. Okay. Haltech has their own flex fuel sensor, goes right in line. This will allow you to run any mixture from 93 to fully E85, and it'll take the actual ethanol content that's in the fuel and then compensate the map for it. So it'll either pull timing if you're closer to 93, or it'll add all your timing back in once you're back up to E85.
Our plan is to take this off-the-shelf LS harness and we're going to repin it in order to work with our Nexus R5, because Haltech doesn't have a plug-and-play set yet. We have the IC7 display built into the DeLorean console here.
Tim made this super cool little ECU mount. So we're gonna have the ECU flushed in here. All the connectors come in the front, a removable panel.
If you're wondering, guys, why we are rewiring the DeLorean from scratch, DeLoreans were built in Ireland. In the 1980s, during the most violent time of Irish history, they cobbled together the worst wiring ever. The wiring in these cars are absolutely atrocious. My car only has 3,500 miles on the odometer. I tore the wiring out and it looked like it had 1,000,000 miles and lived underneath a lake for like 70 years.
And we'll probably start on the engine side. Since the engine harness is already terminated, we'll lay out the engine harness, run it back up front to the Nexus, run power, ground, everything from the battery. Once that's done, then we'll start working on the interior, figuring out where all of your power is coming from, what all of these wires control, and then running those into the ARC module.
We have the Aeromotive, the Phantom system they have here. Has a foam reservoir here to keep all the fuel from sloshing around. And we're also gonna have our Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator. We have to drop the gas tank and figure out what we're gonna do about this dual Phantom setup, how we're gonna get it to fit in the tank. Bottom of the car is an I-beam design. This is actually taken from a Lotus, and the gas tank is underneath this plate. So I'm gonna take all these bolts off and try, hopefully not to break anything. I could drop this plate down. The gas tank is right there. Our Dorito chip is out, AKA gas tank. It's pretty nasty. Made quite a mess because the turpentine at the floor.
It's just so thick. It just turned into like this weird gelatinous goo.
I'm afraid after a couple fill-ups, it's gonna clog my whole fuel system. So I'm gonna try to pour acetone in there. I could probably just let a match on it, right? After I pour the acetone in there? Perfect. And it'll just burn it off real fast. Oh! Our gas tank's nice and clean. I'm actually pretty happy because our Aeromotive stealth system looks like it's gonna fit pretty much perfect. Probably gonna cut this flange off and that'll probably be enough. All right, so a little acetone wash definitely worked.
Plastic is pretty much bare. You don't see any more syrup. But what I'm doing right now is I'm just lining up my distance from the bottom of the tank to the pumps. You want to get it obviously as low as you can so you don't get any fuel starve.
All right, so our fuel pressure regulator is in place and our E85 flex fuel sensor is nice and mounted. Got our gas tank positioned as well. And we have our Vibrant Performance AN fittings up there on our fuel rail. So now we can start connecting the dot. We're gonna be using our black braided fuel line on this setup from Vibrant. Our feed lines are in, guys. I just have to start working now on the return side. It's gonna be a little bit more intricate. I got my return line coming out of the bottom of the regulator right here. I got this little scab that's left over. So I'm gonna come right out of here and right into our flex fuel sensor for our Haltech system. And then after that, I'm gonna run my 2 lines from the back side of the fuel rail. We got our Vibrant fuel lines all made up on our fuel rails. We have our feed line and our return coming out the back side. Now this line's just kind of laying over here because it's gonna eventually go underneath this plenum and go between the throttle bodies and the valve cover. So we get tucked under there, you won't even see it, it'll just be like that. It'll be really nice and tidy. All right, so we got some Msd Smart Coils.
They put out a stronger spark if you're running boost.
We got this relocation kit for our coils from Holley, which we are gonna set up here on the side of that frame rail right there. So I made a little template and we're gonna use some rib nuts and get that little puppy installed up there. Mikey put our Msd Smart Coils into the chassis here. Got them nice and mounted up high. We ended up putting in the new half shafts. We actually modified these DeLorean half shafts to work with the Porsche transaxle. I know this is super sketch, but this is just gonna get us to SEMA for now. It will work, I promise it won't break. We have IAT sensors in the front, all the way up top on the charge piping, and we have a lot of stalactites hanging down here.
All right, so basically we're just gonna finish the majority of the major wiring on the car to tie up a lot of these loose ends. We still need to wire the coil packs and just kind of clean it up.
Most of the wiring is done. Scott's been banging that out. So what I'm focusing on right now is getting this Porsche 996 shifter to go into our center console. The shifter for the DeLorean is significantly smaller. And believe it or not, guys, these are fuel lines. These are the factory fuel lines for the car. Now, we ran our Vibrant fuel lines underneath the chassis, tucked them up really nice. I'm gonna get rid of these factory fuel lines, and then I'm going to cut the lid open on this fiberglass shell to expose our metal box that's built down into the chassis. So I gotta figure out how much I have to cut away. Shifter is in. I'm feeling pretty good about it, but it's centered in the console. So I'm gonna put the car in there now so we can slip our 2 cables through and see if we can get this thing to roll through the gears. All right, we have our cables on. So let's go up in the car and see if it does something. Oh yeah. All 6 gears. Don't really know how to put it in reverse though. All right, now that the shifter is all set and we're rolling through the gears, we're gonna have to wait for Scott to come back and finish up some wiring on the engine. So now we're gonna jump on the rear deck lid of the DeLorean, get some carbon fiber laid up, and we have something really spicy for the rear engine cover that's gonna be really Ferrari-esque. This thing's looking pretty sweet. Carbon really looks awesome on this deck lid, guys, and the rear louver set is all done. And you can see this whole Ferrari-esque motif that's happening with the back end of this car, just really showing off the engine like a piece of jewelry. But now we're gonna head down to Miami and get some molds cut for the Widebody kit for the DeLorean. All right, guys, we weathered the traffic. We're finally down in Miami and we made it to South Dade Skiffs. My brother from another mother, Sean Serrig, is here, and he's been nice enough to help us out with our project. Now, you saw in our last episode, we made the Widebody kit for the C10 using bucks and like an old school method of doing things. That was before I figured out that Sean had a actual table that can cut all this high density foam. So what we have here now, we have this tooling foam, and we're gonna make our mold for our dashboard and our C10 and our Widebody kit for our 80s Dream Machine out of this actual foam here.
Doesn't look like much right now, but these are all going to be stacked together and held together with dowel pins so that it will create our fenders and our front bumper and our side skirts. We finally made it out of Miami, back to Boca, back to the shop, and we have a whole lot of foam. Now, as you can see, everything is loose.
Jeff, what is this stuff?
It's called a core bond. Just bonds to core foam really well.
For the children eating Tide Pods at home, is it edible?
No.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's edible once.
What you got there, Timmy? We got wheels. Oh man, I hope they fit. My first 3-piece wheels, Mikey. Never had 3-piece wheels before.
Aw.
Feel like a big boy now.
Are you gonna be a real hot boy now?
Yes, yes I am.
Nice. How many inches?
That's 5.5.
Wait, no. You gotta go to the base.
Oh my ass. Is this a dick measuring contest?
Hey, you can't put that on YouTube. It's a family show.
Look at that.
Time has come to cut up the DeLorean. Now before you guys freak out, and I'm not gonna ruin it, I swear, we're doing a wide body kit on the car. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger than it was before. I'm gonna go ahead and put the front fender on and trace the profile of the wide body kit. And then I'm gonna know exactly how much I need to cut away at it. This is a $4,000 fender. It's gonna cost a lot of money if I mess it up. So gonna make sure that I'm gonna cut really shy and not cut too far into the actual fiberglass underneath. Otherwise, it's gonna be pretty much ruined. Our DeLorean fenders are all cut. Next thing we get to do is get some primer on the wide body kit and then start fitting it to the car. Once I get everything on, we got to build some flanges for the inside of these fender flares. Then these things are ready for paint. We're gonna use the fender as a splash mold. And then once it dries, we can pop it off the car. So we're about 3 or 4 layers in, and we got a flange. The tape is allowing the fiberglass to not stick to the actual panel of the car. So once we pull it off, then we'll be able to trim it, drill our holes, put our rib nuts in, and this body kit is installed. All right, so we got our first quarter all set. The seam is nice and matched to the body of the car. We got flanges and they're looking pretty good. You look like you're in like a spaghetti wasteland right now. Look at that, you're wiring plug wires. That must mean we're pretty close.
Not far. Right now we have main power feeding your key switch. You have your starter activation wire.
There it is.
You have your switch 12 volt going to the Haltech. And with these things, you'll be able to, as you turn the key, obviously, power your Haltech.
I'm gonna hook up the screen, plug in the Nexus R5, put the key on, and hopefully the Haltech dash comes awake and we're good to go. Oh boy, we got lights. All right, we finally have all our wires ran, our power, our grounds. I messed around with the Haltech a little bit, got everything good. Let's see if it works. Oh boy, it's there. So IC7 display, guys, is super awesome because not only do you have this readout, but you also have all these presets as far as your screen layout goes. Look at that one. Actually has like the logos handwritten on the bottom like an old school race car. That one's definitely my favorite, I think. You saw in the other episode, guys, Steve came down and did some amazing work on the truck. He's still here doing some work on the DeLorean taillights and headlights as well. Oh, look at these taillights.
You got everything all wired up now, and it's just finishing up and cleaning up.
Jeff from JG3D actually CNC cut a pair of acrylic taillights, and you can see it's the grid pattern just like a real DeLorean. The only difference now is it's obviously reversed, so we have big gaps here. And then Steve, what are you putting inside of those channels?
So what we did is we did a high density neon style LED, and it goes through these channels Tron style. The lights that we use in these are NeoPixels, so what we'll be able to do is we will be able to select each individual LED and tell them basically what we want them to do. We are using a Blue Ghost from Ghost Lighting Technologies. Fantastic module. It'll allow us to basically have all our driver functions in a plug and play scenario, and then pair it with our phone and allow it to go crazy with cool patterns and stuff too.
Wow, I can't wait to see it. So we're gonna have these things all finished up, but we also have headlights to do too. So what are these? We got some pretty sweet headlights, huh? And what we did was we cut a backing plate on our CNC plasma. These were 3D printed, right? These are the lenses. So we're going to use these as guides to make sure we can put this all back together. And we're gonna panel bond the edges of these two seams, and then this guy all the way down here. And then once we have these glued, then we'll go ahead and bodywork them real quick, and then do a little puff can flat block to match the rest of the car. Then we'll be able to put our lenses in, and then we'll hand them off to Steve, and he'll be able to put some LED lights in them. So me and Jeff finished up gluing up the headlight buckets. We handed off the headlights to Steve.
Got some profile prism strips. These are sequential DRLs. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put them behind these. I don't know if you wanna see it.
I kind of do want to see it. You guys want to see it? I want to see it.
All right, check this out. Ready?
What?
But wait, there's more. When we put the turn signal on,
Look at that. The taillights are all set and the headlights are all set. We got Mike in the wings. Let's see those things fire up, man. Oh, wow. Look at that.
that's the startup sequence that I had programmed in here. And this is your basic running light, okay? Now, if you look here, we'll show you what the brake lights look like.
Yeah.
So hit the brakes for me. There we go. So we got a redundant brake light around. Turn them off and kick them back on, please.
Really getting people's attention. You need that in Boca Raton, Florida, because you get rear-ended every single day.
This is true. This is the Ghost Lighting app, and what you can do is you can program all your normal driver functions on here. You can set how many LEDs you have for your left and for your right, and then you can set up these show modes. So check this out when I push this button.
Look at that. That's awesome.
And then if you want to do just red and have a little sparkle in there, like I said, you can control each individual LED.
That's crazy. So the front of the car now, we have some driving lights. These aren't the actual headlights, guys. These are actually parking lights. Wow, look at that. It is so futuristic, 80s looking. It's just so perfect for the car.
Pulse me a turn signal. Check this out.
Look at that, man. That's crazy. Hey man, you killed it. Skeptik Innovations. If you guys want some custom lighting done, he's on Instagram. He's usually super busy, but just keep messaging him and he'll get your lights done for you. All right, guys, the DeLorean is all set. I'm super pumped with this interior. Restomod Air really came through with these really cool billet air vents, and these controls really make the interior look really nice. We incorporated the original tape deck from the DeLorean to keep that 80s flavor. The Haltech IC7 display is wired up, and as you can see, it is good to go. The Nexus R5 is in there, so that's gonna be good to go on our LS swap. Get that thing running and get it going down the road. Our shifter is good to go, our Porsche shifter. Still need to get a shift knob on there and a couple other things. And these status seats look really nice with the rosé. That's some special color they can make just for this car. And we also incorporated the gauge cluster as well. They offer cloth to match the rest of your interior. We also did the engine bay. JC Customs came through on a really awesome set of billet intake plenums for the engine. And Mikey did an amazing job doing the paint job on the Widebody kit, getting all the body work done. That thing needed a ton of work.
Are we leaving to Vegas or what, bro?
Oh crap, I gotta go, man. I gotta go. We're gonna start this up. We're going right now, guys. Look at this. All right, let's see what we can do. Oh, man. All right, guys, in all honesty, we built this car plus the EV truck in less than 8 months.
and we are stinking exhausted. We are so tired. I wanted to have this thing cranked up before SEMA. Mikey wanted to have this thing cranked up before SEMA. We have it all there. I mean, it's pretty much good to go, but full transparency, after SEMA is when the action's really gonna happen as far as making this thing run and hitting the rollers. We really wanna hit 4 figures with this car and have the world's fastest DeLorean, so unfortunately it takes a little time. But thanks for watching the content on the DeLorean. We're gonna be having a lot more videos coming up, and next stop, Vegas. Check this car out at the Toyo Tire Treadpass as well as the EV truck.
Back to Savage, baby.
Bye.